Hey everyone, Dan here. We are just before market close on Monday, June 14th. Today we're going to do an updated look at Corsair Gaming. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And don't forget to comment below if you have thoughts, opinions, questions, tickers you'd like me to look at, or whatever else. All right, let's jump right in. So we've done videos on Corsair before because it's often been an interesting sort of stock to trade. At that point, it was focused on longer term trading because it was, I guess, in terms of like the volatility of a lot of the stock market today, it was a little bit more of like a slow and steady mover. And so I'd often talk about it in terms of like these long drawn out channels that it was, it had been in this channel for, 16 months. And so now it's coming down to a potential dip buy opportunity in that channel and so on and so forth. So it's more that sort of thing. This is obviously a wild swing up today and then has been sort of like a bit of a battleground as the day's gone on. What I would say is a couple things. So one, we'll take a look at the chart and kind of talk through some potential supply and demand zones that could be coming up. But what's really interesting on this one is, well, I guess I can go over here to the news, but if you look here, they start to talk about, Wall Street Bets finds its latest meme stack. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a lot of this is just like attention grabbing headlines, fuel clicks and clicks fuel ad revenue or whatever. But a bit of this is interesting because yes, there has been some articles or posts come out on Wall Street Bets, sort of proclaiming that Corsair could be the next like millionaire stock, could make folks millionaires by holding the stock or owning the stock. But the interesting thing is the due diligence on this is basically focused around like year-over-year growth, net profit, gross profit margin, the overall opportunity as it exists in the gaming industry. So it's very, very like fundamental analysis, the thing that like Wall Street Bets is always crucified for in the in the media, as none of this is based on the fundamentals. Like if you go through Wall Street Bets and take a look, the DD on here is primarily, the bullet points that I just talked about, talking about figures, numbers, data from year over year from the business and from the industry itself. So it's really interesting to me that that's sort of how that's playing out. I think there might be an additional interesting factor as it pertains to Wall Street Bets that comes into play, because if we actually, let's just go with the 5-day view on this to put today into perspective. So at close on Friday, it was about, what's this, about 32, 35, something like that, just over $32. And then it shot up to almost 43 this morning. And so what I'm going to guess, of all things, what I think this fundamental DD, this DD of fundamentals that has, caused this rise in price from retail traders who were buying in because of the due diligence on the business fundamentals. I'm going to guess what's going to happen next is there's probably right around here or right around here, or maybe throughout the entire day today, there have been a bunch of short sellers entering the market. I have no doubt with the level of increase that this stock went through, $10 on a previously $32 stock. So a 33% increase, like overnight, basically, absolutely will draw in a ton of short sellers. I have no doubt. So I'm going to bet that when we look at the short volume ratio tomorrow or later tonight when it comes out, I'm going to bet that it's going to be pretty high, at least in the 20s. And I'm going to guess that it's going to stay there for a while. And there's going to be an ensuing battle between these retail traders who got in, not because of this sort of short squeeze potential or gamma squeeze coming or anything like that, that can feel very, very highly speculative and can feel very like it doesn't follow the fundamentals. I'm going to guess that these retail traders who jumped in based on the fundamentals and the DD that was provided because of the fundamentals are going to then end up fighting the shorts again. Like is sort of, I guess, just the the fate of Wall Street bets at this point is they must continue showdowns with short sellers. But I'm going to guess that that's what's going to happen here in the coming days. And they may not, the folks at Wall Street Bet might not even talk about it, to be honest. They might more so be focused and stay focused on the fundamentals and just kind of, know that there are shorts coming in. I'm sure it'll become a, contentious point at some level, but yeah, it's just it's just a bizarre world. So here's the 1 year view on Corsair. So it had this huge run up. So this isn't like an all-time high for sure where it is right now. It had this huge run up right after it IPO'd. It is a very low float stock, which is another one of the things that folks point out. And so, with it, basically found originally tried to find its price footing here and then has come down and found its footing here. But you see basically its history from this really long view perspective. It's mostly a history of sideways movement, right? It almost looks like something like a Walmart or a GM or something. Like, it's not even really going to be a consolidation channel here, but that's too ugly. I can't leave that on the screen. But it's basically just sideways in this box is probably a better representation of it. So funny enough, even with the big jump up today, it is still in that box that encompasses most of its price for all of time, really, since this is all of its time. So, even with that being the case today, I think, if there does continue to be increased volume, increased volatility, increased pressure coming in from retail to jump on this stock and think that, because the fundamentals look so good, that there's a play to be had here, could certainly see it poking out into all-time highs, toward 52 and beyond. So let's zoom in and get sort of a closer in look on what the coming days might bring. Actually, I think we need to come out a little further than that. I want to bring in some of this previous price activity above where we are now to inform some of the price levels that we might be looking at on the upper and the downward side. So there should be a really strong level of support right around here, because this previous topping out, and then support here, and even back here, support. So very, very strong zone there at that 35.70 mark. And it looks like it did test that basically earlier on and jumped off of it and then came back down and rejected it on the downside. So proving itself as really strong support. If it can't hold that for some reason, I would take a look at this zone 34.17 to be another potential catch zone, and another one very, very close in just below it at high 32s, if it needs it there. But that's basically filling that entire gap that it left when it had that big run up in the pre-market. On the upside, what I would look for, if you're looking to maybe buy into some price strength, see what it's doing tomorrow, or maybe you were just looking to trade this shorter term and you're looking to maybe trim or at least lock in some profits and then maybe play with some house money or something like that. These are the ones to the upside based on the previous price action that should be strong demand and supply zones, aka support and resistance. And that would get us up to the mid 40s. It's going to be a little bit of guesswork after that, probably quite a bit of guesswork after that. So that's as far as I'm going to go on it for now, but this is what I would look for in the days ahead. These zones to play out here. See if this can catch itself right here at this 37.38 and build over it. Otherwise, you might see it drop down to 35.70 and try to catch some support there before building itself back up. We pop back out to the 5-minute. We can still see these. And yeah, good day for Corsair. I mean, even though it's been rocky during the day, but such is the life of a stock that is shown on Wall Street Bets. Yeah, I we'll probably follow up on this one. Full disclosure, I did take a position in Corsair. This isn't my first position in Corsair by far. I've played this in the past, but often just kind of lose track of it because it has all of that sideways action, and I'm typically looking for stocks that are more volatile in nature. But I'll at least drop something on my Twitter, which I'll put my Twitter handle in the description below if you want to check there out. At a bare minimum, I'll put something there about what the short volume ratio looks like later today once we get the data, because I'm going to guess. I'm just telling you, I feel pretty good about the idea that a bunch of shorts came in here and a bunch of shorts came in here, and maybe a bunch took profit down here. So, we will sort through that with the short volume ratio as well as the 15-minute interactive brokers data that we get, and kind of piece those things together and talk about that. But I think that's how this is actually going to evolve in the coming days and weeks if the attention stays on Corsair and if there is actually this continued support and interest from retail. I think it's going to turn into a bit of a short battle, not because like Wall Street bets started the short battle, but because they were trying to trade off the fundamentals and the value that they saw in the stock, and then the short sellers came in and tried to run their short and distort campaign against it because they saw a 33% run up in the pre-markets and thought there'll certainly be some profit taking here, and this was certainly an overreaction. But I guess it'll be sort of like a to be seen kind of situation for the moment. Well, good luck if you're in this one, or if you end up getting into this one. I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you in the next video.